Hello. Good afternoon, good evening, wherever time you are on. I hope you guys are doing well. It's been some time since I have been on here. So I'm just gonna get into it. I'm not gonna be before you ladies long, but this is the Dark Side of Tea. Thank you for joining me on another impromptu live. Um, just want to say hello to all who is out there. If you are not familiar with me, I go by the Dark Side of Tea. On this channel, I express womanhood, femininity through the Black experience in America, mainly from my own perspective and experiences. And it's just pretty much this is just a constant stream of thought that comes through me, and I share when I care. And I'm sharing today. So, without further ado, let's get straight into it. The titles, as it states, it is Black Women 2020 or Dust. And with that, it is how you end is how you finish. And what I mean by that, as you ladies have already known, we have seen a major shifting in the um, beauty standard, if you want to say that, image as far as Black women and Black aesthetic women have won these many different pageants and beauty contests. I've been noticing that's been happening a little more lately, but it's just been very blatant in the last few months as we've seen the winners that have been announced and the accolades and praises that have been given to Black women in our image. And I know there has been some conversation about the aesthetic of these certain women who have won these awards. And really what I really want us to take from it, as far as not being nitpicky, but to kind of look at what's taking place. Learn to see a win as a win, which is a win. And what I mean by that, we are ending 2019, ending this 2009, 2019 decade with Black women, or the aesthetic of Black women really being now pushed. I don't know if it's just being pushed or just really being recognized for the unique beauty that's we're already within us. And I see that as how you end is how you finish. We are going to 2020, a new decade, not just a new year, but also a new decade, new energy. And honestly, during this time of I guess, they say like the winter time is like the time of stillness. This is the time where you should really be recollecting and reflecting and doing some inner growing. So when you get to your spring or springtime, it's now that you have the energy that you reserved during the winter, like that hibernation period, to now exert that energy. And I would like for us to take and really just take in within our own personal lives. I talk a lot about the collective of Black womanhood or Black femininity or Black women, but at the end of the day, hey, Chaz B98, hello. But at the same time, I don't see that we should identify as a collective. I think there's a relating that we have with each other as Black women, but to identify our personal identity, I'm talking about personal identity as Black womanhood and Black women, I really believe on an individual level, when individually Black women or identified Black women, self-identified Black women do what's best for themselves and put themselves at the forefront, it will turn into a collective movement, but it really is an individual journey. And I would like for us to take this time to really see how we can benefit. Life is about putting your best foot forward and doing and making decisions and moves that is strategic for yourself. And I know a lot of this conversation of self-care, self-love, self-care and self-love is putting yourself first and putting your image first, putting your beliefs first. And what I mean by first, by standing on what you believe for yourself and not trying to be people pleasing. Because, a lot of us have got caught up in being a people pleaser at some point or time in our life. And now we're making shifts and decisions on what's best for self. Like for me, I'll give a perfect example. For me, What is best for me is for me to spend at least an hour by myself a day, just when I'm just strictly by myself, not out and about with friends or doing things within my business or doing things with my children or my husband, anything, just an hour when I could just be truly by myself. And I particularly like to do that in the evening. I can do it in the morning too, but I just really like it in the evening because that is the time when I wind down. So everybody knows between the hours of 5 or 6 or 6 to 7, just around that time frame, everybody in my household knows that that is mama time. She is not to answer no questions. She is not to be bothered with. Like that is not, I just need that hour to myself. And typically I like to do that in a bath. I love baths. I just like to sit in baths. I love hot water. I love that. And that is just my time for me to be by myself, completely alone, pure, just my own energy, and just recollect on my day, my time, what I'm working on, how I feel, check in with my body, and just to be, just truly be. Sometimes it's not even a whole reflecting kind of moment. It's just be me, just be. And honestly, when I come out of that, I am so ready to be engaged with my children, with my partner, and whatever other things I may have to do that evening. It helps me. So in the beginning, when I was doing that, it was a lot of people, like my husband was like, "Oh my God, you're so selfish. Like, why you just can't do this right now?" And he had to really fall back and see, like, when I do push through to do things at that time, I'm just not my best self because I'm doing things throughout the day. I'm doing this. I'm being part of this group. I have a 3-year-old, so I'm with her all the time. So he recognized that, okay, she has to do this because when she's not doing this, she is a biatch. She is not a nice person. So he recognizes the importance of me being by myself and having myself time, and the children honor that and respect that. And that's how I set the tone for myself and my family as far as this is what I have to do. Like my husband, Sundays, I already know it's his day. Sunday afternoon, that is his day. He goes out with his boys. He goes to the gym. He does whatever he needs to do to just be him, whoever. That's just his time. And it's respect. And it's like coming into a place of yourself where you are in peace. And I want to correct something I said in a previous video. I don't know if it was the video before this or I think it was the video before this. I was saying, I want my goal for Black women to be happy. And honestly, I got to go back and change that. No, honestly, I don't care about Black women happiness. And I'm going to tell you why I don't care about happiness. Because happiness is fleeting. It comes and it goes. And honestly, you can be happy in some mess. I don't even care about happiness. I care about Black women having peace with themselves and their environment and the people in their life. That's what I truly care about. I care about Black women being at peace because I truly feel and understand and believe that when you have peace in your life, nothing can really get you off centered or off course because you are at peace with yourself. And I truly know that comes from really being with yourself. It doesn't mean being like a single person, like not partnered up or not having children, but being at peace with all who you are, the things about yourself that you like, the things about yourself that you may not like as much, the things about yourself that you are growing and working in, all aspects of yourself, being at peace with who you are, where you're at the time that you're at, and being at peace to know that you are growing more into who you are to be, that for yourself, right? So that's what I care about. I care about peace. And one of the biggest things that I recognize for myself when it comes to me keeping it and sustaining my own peace is when I grew and developed and learned more about emotional, what's the word? Not emotional stability, that's one, but emotional intelligence. And emotional intelligence is really about being emotionally sound with yourself. Like for instance, somebody can do something that may anger you, and maybe in your first natural response of anger would be lash out or to whatever, right? Fight, scream, yell, whatever your initial feeling that you would do and the way you would exert that energy. It's about holding that back and recognizing that, okay, I am angry right now. And when I get angry, I want to spew out foul words or get confrontational or whatever the situation may be, right? But because I have enough emotional intelligence to recognize that that type of behavior is not only, emotional regulation is one, recognizing for myself that type of behavior is not going to be conducive to the result that I want. And then recognizing that when I recognize my own emotional intelligence, I'm there now able to recognize other people's level of emotional intelligence. And I can now respond in a way that is not emotionally driven, but is more logical driven and balanced with my emotions. Because you can be angry without being popping off and going crazy and throwing shoes, right? There's a way to express yourself and still get to the common goal. Like when me and my husband used to get into arguments. Well, I never really used to argue with him, but in the beginning, like he was really big on like he was just like he didn't like to argue, but he likes to get his point across, and his thing was to raise his voice. And like, that's not my thing. Like, if I got to raise my voice and get my blood pressure rise up, I'm just gonna walk away. Ain't nobody got time for that. I say what I need to say and I walk away. And that used to make him so mad. He used to think like, why are you always walking away? I feel like that's your way of like giving up or this, the third. But he has matured emotionally and recognized like, it makes no sense to be arguing and yelling, especially if a person walks away. And so he realized like, yo, that was real mature you, because it's like, you say what you have to say, you keep it moving. You can't make anybody do it what you want. You can't make anybody be or think or feel how you feel, be or think. All you can do is state your piece and keep it moving. And it's up to that person to regulate their own emotions, not for you. And I think that has been some issues with women in general, as far as when women are married or just in long-term partnerships, we tend to take on majority of the emotional baggage. And I know for myself, I was not like in the beginning of my marriage, I definitely did that. But I got to a point where like, that's draining. I'm not about to drain myself emotionally just to try to keep this idea of peace when I myself is not even at peace. So I don't do that. I speak my mind, and I do it in a way that I recognize what level of emotional intelligence that person is on, based on me knowing my own self. So I'm able to gauge other people, and therefore I act that way. Now, does that mean I get it right every time? No, but I understand it, and I am constantly actively growing it, and it gets better and better by day. That's why they say I'm like wine. I get better with time. Okay. So that is just something I think is important when we looking at how you end is how you finish, and being very aware of what is happening, the shifting that's happening. I think it's a wonderful place for Black women to be right now, because like I said, this decade is really going to be, not even the decade, let's start with the first year. Let's just start with the year 2020. This is going to be a groundbreaking year for a lot of us, because it's really the stability. It's the anchoring your foot down on where you stand. And I believe, because there are so many Black women that are in this sector of talking about healing, whether they're on the, the spiritual side, even like I can see it in the Christian movement too, of just being aware and being cognizant of yourself and your own inner divinity, right? And how you're connected to yourself. And when you're connected to yourself, you're able to see your connection with other people. And then you now have the, what's the word I want to say? The, is it discretion? I guess the word is discretion. You could now make those distinguishing decisions on what's best for yourself, right? But let me see, do you guys have anything you guys want to say or add to the conversation here? I see you guys in the chat room. Hey. You want to know what I think is interesting, though? I want to say I am interested to see how Black women collectively is going to present herself. That's what I'm interested in seeing. I'm interested in seeing where we're going to take the narratives where we're going to take our storylines and our own personal lives and also in the media, and how we choose to optimize on what's already happening. Like, it's really going to be about us. And like the ball's in our court. It was, we were on the, what is, I guess, the offense, because the defense is the one that has the ball, right? Or is it offense? Who has the ball? Offense or defense? Like on basketball or any sport? I think your defense. No, your offense when you have the ball. So we are now on the offense line. Now we are the one that has the ball, and we're going to drive it home. But in order to do that, it's about being aware of every person in the game. Like, who's the point guard? Who's going to be the one that shoots the point? And that's you. You are the point guard. Who's going to be the power forward? I have no idea what that person does. I just remember hearing that position. I know there's a blocker or something like that. But anyway, I'm trying to use basketball terminology to make my point. The point of the matter is you're all parts of the board. Your every game piece or player on the board is recognizing at what time and when and where you need to be that player. Like on chess, like there's times when we're going to be the rook, when you're going to be the knight, the queen, the king on the board, the pawn. Recognize where you're at in your own life at the time that you're in it, and then also play your best move. Because remember, a pawn can always be turned into a queen, and a queen can always be taken out the game. So making the best move for yourself. And that's what I care about. I care about that collectively. Funny story, side note. My daughter this was a few weeks ago, my daughter asked me about the term gold digger. And it tripped me out because she's 9. I'm thinking, like, where the heck did you hear that word from? And she wasn't able to recollect where she heard the word from, but she wanted to know, like, what does it mean? So I asked her, I tried to get her to explain where she heard the term from or what context did she hear the term. And then she said, well, I think I heard it was like talking about like women who go after men for money. And I said, well, how do you feel about that? And she goes, well, I don't know. How am I supposed to feel? I said, well, I'm not going to tell you how you need to feel, but I'll give you a perspective. So I gave her the perspective of this. I said, you know how your daddy works, and he provides us with a home. He provides, the ability for me to be able to pick you up from school, take you to school. Your dad is, he pretty much, if you say you want something, he pretty much will make sure you get it, whether it comes through me, him, whatever. I said, if I didn't partner with your dad and partnering with somebody who wasn't able to give us a home to live in, maybe it wasn't a home, but maybe an apartment, a place to live, that was, I just pretty much gave her the example of being with somebody who's able to provide versus with being with somebody who is not able to provide for you, as far as, not just emotionally, but mentally, financially, economically, and also provide that for your children. I said, because she likes to do gymnastics, right? So we joined her for this very crazy, expensive gymnastic gym. She wants all the gymnastic clothing and all this stuff. So we got her all of that. I said, well, if I wasn't with the type of man that your father is, I probably wouldn't be able to do this stuff for you. And then also too, if I wasn't with the type of man that your father is, I wouldn't be a very nice woman to you or to him. And she goes, well, why do you say that? I say, well, think about this. I say, you want to be with somebody who's going to be able to alleviate any stress from your life by allowing you to be free flowing in what you do best. I don't do best getting up and going to work. I don't. Like, I've done it. I can do it. But if I was to do all of that and still have to raise our kids, still have to be at these different events that I want them to be a part of, and that they want to be a part of, that I enjoy them being a part of, and then still being to do the things that I like to do when I want to do it, I would be very stressed out, because I would know that there's another dimension of lifestyle that I can live, and I'm not living that. So I explained to her, I said, when it comes to a woman being called a gold digger, I think that you should assess with your own life. And I told her, you should figure out in your own life what lifestyle you want to live and how you want to keep it. And that's up to you and how you want to live it. And she goes, well, that makes sense. Why would I want to be with somebody who can't give me the opportunity? She said, I think I want to be a stay-at-home mom because I like to being home with me and this and there. Because I think I was home with her for the first 3 to 4 years of her life. And then I went back to work for a little while, and then I came back home. But so I was able to explain to her in that process. And I said, well, some people will consider that being a gold digger, right? And she was like, oh, well, that's silly. I said, yeah, but most of the people that use that term are like men who don't have money and women who are jealous or who think they can't get a man to do half of that. But I just thought that was so funny. And I kind of like tied that back into emotional intelligence, really. Like that really does tie down to being emotionally intelligent. When you're intelligent with your own emotions, you are able to pick up the intellectual intelligence of other people or their emotional intelligence, particularly when it comes to men. And you're able to partner yourself with a person that's understanding and understanding of yourself and you. And honestly, that's just really how life works. It really works when you are in tune with yourself, then you start to attract people the same. But that's all I wanted to talk about. I just want to say how you end is how you finish. 2020 is a groundbreaking year of building your stability. If you think about the number 2, the master number, and then 2 + 2 = 4. And 4 is the number of solid foundations. And I believe that this will be a year of solid foundations for a lot of us. I know my personal goal for 2020, when it comes to solid foundation, is being more enterprising in my gifts. I have a lot of gifts and talents that I've been able to really focus on in the last few years of my life. Just because I took time and was able to have the time to learn deeper about myself and what I'm really good at, and to work on certain projects. And the things I failed at in this last decade, the things I've done well at, the opportunities of growth. I see for me and my personal self and my personal life for 2020, taking all those lessons learned in this past decade and now coming more solidified in who I am and what I want to accomplish for 2020. Because I definitely now can practice my emotional intelligence a lot more efficiently now. I am definitely able to see the benefit of all experiences that I've had, good, bad, and indifferent. And in all honesty, it's funny because I was watching, I think I mentioned this too, but I was watching the E True Hollywood Story? Something like that. It was like a recent one on Kim Kardashian, and something she was saying that I definitely resonate. I feel like any person could resonate with this type of statement that she made. Was everything that she said she went through in her life, even the things that she thought she never experienced. She's thankful for all of those experiences because they really did shape her and ground her into the person that she is in today. And I think for her own self, I think she's had her own level of personal growth for herself. That's good for her. You know what I'm saying? And I love stories like that. I like to hear stories of self-awareness, and personal growth and development. And so when I look at that for my own life, when I look at every event that took place in my life from childhood to now, I'm really thankful and grateful for all those experiences, whether they were self-inflicted or not. It really did shape me and mold me into the person I am. And it has solidified me on who I am and how I move forward. So I'm taking those lessons with me, those rewards and benefits, all of that my life has given me. And I am now using that as a firm, solid foundation for the next part of my life. Like I said, the 2020s is going to be, I'm going to be in my 30s. And there is a quote, I believe it's from Coco Chanel. She said, I think it's Coco Chanel who said this. She says, in your 20s, nature gives you your face. The face that you have in your 20s is naturally given to you. Nature gives that to you. In your 30s, life gives you the face you have. I think she says, like, life gives you your face in your 30s, but in your 50s, you get the face you deserve. So what I say by that is the things I was given naturally, I have built on that. The things that life has given to me, has taught me and rewarded me, I have taken that. And now going beyond, I am now using all those experiences to now build a solid foundation of who I am and how I identify myself and how I express myself, and carry that every aspect of my life, economically, financially, emotionally, with my family, my friends, business, everything. And so I am so looking forward to this part of my life, because how you end it is how you're going to finish. So with all that being said and done, this is the Dark Side of Tea. It has been a lovely time speaking with you ladies. As always, hit the subscribe button, and the notification bell, because I don't come here frequently. I do drop in every now and then. If you are interested in what I have to say, definitely come and find me. And until then, talk to y'all again later. Bye-bye.